How failure became my greatest teacher. It was a crisp autumn morning when I first stepped onto the football field. At 16, I had big dreams. I had always been passionate about football. The feeling of the ball at my feet, the sound of the crowd cheering, it was everything I wanted. Every day, I would train relentlessly, hoping that one day, I'd be good enough to make the varsity team. But what I didn't know then was that the journey to success would be far more complicated than I ever imagined. That day, I was training harder than ever before. My coach was standing on the sidelines, watching my every move. "You've got this, John," he had said to me earlier, but there was still a long way to go. I wanted to prove myself not just to my coach, but to everyone who had ever doubted me. Everything seemed perfect until the moment I missed the shot. It was the last goal of the game, and all I had to do was score. The ball rolled in front of me, and I took the shot, but it hit the post. The sound of it echoing was like a painful reminder of failure. I watched as the opposing team ran with the ball, scoring the game-winning goal in the final seconds. I had missed my chance. The entire stadium fell silent, and I could feel the weight of everyone's disappointed stares. My coach shook his head, and my teammates were too focused on the loss to even look at me. I felt crushed, not just because we had lost, but because I had failed. I had let everyone down, my team, my coach, and most of all, myself. After the match, I walked to the locker room. The walls felt like they were closing in on me. I sat there, alone, replaying the moment over and over in my mind. Why had I failed? What could I have done differently? I started thinking about everything I had sacrificed, the long hours of practice, the pain, the sweat, the bruises. And yet, it had all come down to this one moment, a moment I couldn't change. As I sat there, I realized something. My failure didn't define me. It was a lesson, a painful but valuable lesson. And if I could learn from it, I could become stronger. This failure wasn't the end of my journey. It was just the beginning. Determined to prove myself, I didn't let this setback stop me. The next day, I was back on the field, alone. The stadium was empty, and the sun was just starting to set. The world was quiet, but my mind was filled with noise, thoughts of how I could improve, how I could get better. I practiced for hours, kicking the ball again and again. I focused on the basics, my footwork, my accuracy, my timing. I didn't care if no one was watching. I was working for myself. Slowly, the shots started landing in the goal. One by one, I improved, learning from each miss, getting better with each attempt. It wasn't easy. Some days I wanted to give up, but I kept pushing. And as the days passed, I could feel myself growing stronger, both physically and mentally. It wasn't long before the next match arrived. The stadium was packed with fans, the noise was deafening, and the pressure was on. But this time, I wasn't the same player. I had learned from my failure. I had worked hard, and I knew that I was ready. The match started, and everything clicked into place. My movements were sharp, my passes were accurate, and when the moment came, I scored the winning goal. The crowd erupted in cheers, and my teammates lifted me on their shoulders. I felt like I was on top of the world. But what mattered more than the victory was the journey. The lessons I had learned through my failure had shaped me into the person I was now, stronger, more resilient, and ready for anything that came my way. A few months later, I was standing in front of my coach again, this time holding the championship trophy. "You did it, John," he said, patting me on the back. "You never gave up, and now look at you." Felt surreal. Just a few months ago, I had been sitting in that locker room, wondering if I'd ever be good enough. But now, I had proven to myself that I was capable of more than I had ever imagined. I realized that failure wasn't something to fear. It was a teacher, one that had shown me the importance of perseverance, hard work, and never giving up. Every failure was a step closer to success, and I had finally learned that. As I looked back at my journey, I felt grateful for the struggles. If I had given up after that missed shot, I wouldn't be standing here today holding the trophy. Failure had shaped me into the person I was, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So to anyone out there who is facing failure, remember this: failure is not the end. It's the beginning of something greater. Keep pushing, keep learning, and keep growing. Your success is just on the other side of your struggle. If you're going through a tough time, remember that every setback is an opportunity for growth. Don't give up and don't lose hope. Like this video if you believe in the power of perseverance, and share your own story of overcoming failure in the comments below. Keep going, your success is closer than you think. Lesson learned from the story. Failure is not a roadblock, it's a stepping stone. Learn from it, grow from it, and never give up. Keep moving forward, and success will follow.